So, who's been to Pirate Summit in Cologne? All right. So, what do you know about pirates? What do they do when they go in the sea? They say "Arr!" Can we try it? Can we try again? Okay. Arr! Okay, welcome to Pirate Summit in Warsaw. Boris asked me to can I share something, and then I had this few slides. So I was back in Tallinn in some kind of event, and they asked me, can I tell them why am I a serial entrepreneur? I was like, no idea. And then I start to look at what I've done before, and I was like, realize, all right, the best way to describe myself is I'm a serial co-founder. I've been part of 4 startups as a co-founder, and some of them worked, some of them didn't, some of them stopped working, and some of them still goes on. And then I've been an advisory board or board of several others. So what do I actually do? Have you heard of this company? Those from Reaktor might have seen them every time they switch on the lights, I guess. So Infogr.am is the world's largest infographics community. We serve infographics to about 40 million people every month. Mostly our customers are media and content marketing. And then the other organization I'm totally part of is I'm a board member of Pirate Summit. The probably coolest tech festival ever happened on European soil. I've been there, so it's happening 6th year this year, in September 6 and 7 in Cologne, Germany. And I've been in, I think, every possible capacity in a Pirate Summit. I pitched, in early days, I pitched Infogr.am there. I was attendee, I was a speaker, and I was ambassador and organized small Pirate Summit event in my town in Riga. And I'm now a board member and I'm organizer of Pirate Summit Global, which is a series of events last year we did 55 cities. This year we scaled down from 55 to 40, but increased the number of people we get. The way I like to describe Pirate Summit Global is the world's largest decentralized tech festival. We reach around 10,000 people in about 40 countries every year. We do events in most European capitals, in good part of Middle East, and in Japan as well this year, first time. And we look at around 1,000 startups, from which 75 are invited to pitch in semifinals in Cologne, and then a few gets the main prize, main prizes. So what will happen today, after I'll stop talking and after we'll have a panel, and after we'll have the pitches, we'll select 2 startups as the winners from Pirate Summit Warsaw. The first place will get 2 tickets to Pirate Summit and a guaranteed place in semifinals of Pirate Summit. And the second place will get 2 tickets to Pirate Summit, which is effectively invite-only event. So the other thing I do is Digital Freedom Festival. Those of you who have free time and interest to attend the largest Baltic states technology festival in like one day before Slush, it's like end of November, number 29, and 28, 29 in Riga. Then we run this festival called Digital Freedom Festival. That's sort of a hobby of mine. The dates were wrong. Okay, so and then I've let's say graduated from active involvement in my startup Infogr.am. Since January 1st, I'm building a new company called Fragmentic. And the couple of takeaways. So I've been before Infogr.am, I've been building a game company that never worked, and we closed it down after 2 years of miserable existence. As of Infogr.am case, we run it for 4.5 years now. It's fairly fast growing. company, and I get a lot of takeaways, and like if I do something new, which I do now, is I incorporated those takeaways into what is Fragmentic. So I wanted to share what what I do. Actually, before I go there, I'll probably quickly pitch you my startup, and it's up to you to judge it. So Fragmentic is artificial intelligence software builder. We provide pre-designed construction bricks for SaaS and e-commerce products, and once you build it into your product, they listen to what your customers do and improve themselves automatically. So it's like funnel optimization, where your customer behavior influences how your product is designed, how your product is communicating, how your product behaves, and it interacts with your customer base. So okay, so about the takeaways. So one thing I've learned is small-scale networking matters a lot. That's why we do Pirate Summit, and that's why Pirate Summit is invite-only. And instead of us going direction of the Next Web or Web Summit or Slash, where we would have probably grew out of the really cool place in Cologne where we are now, into something that is like a concert hall, for instance, and hosting 20,000 people. So instead of that, we, as one of the old, proper, and like still like major European tech festivals, we've decided we will never scale. So we always have 1,500 maximum capacity of the venue, and the only thing we will increase is the quality of those people. And I've been probably, when I was pitching my startup and I was part of events, I've been probably in like many festivals now. As I'm starting organizing them, I probably do about like, I don't know, 50, 60 tech festivals a year around the world. I still value, I think, that the smallest ones have been the best, and like the most people I still have very close relationship. All of them I met at Pirate Summit, or some other small-scale events. So I've been doing some of those for a while, like next weekend, Friday, Saturday, we run an event called the Baltic Founder Forum, which is invite-only, 25 only people, no organizers. Everyone's organizer, everyone's a speaker. 25 only people in the countryside of Latvia, 25 key founders from the Baltic startup ecosystem. So we try to build these kind of super small-scale events because these connections really matters. All right, so I talked about... So the story is that my laptop burned 2 days ago, so I'm reusing my slides from Tallinn, so I'll be skipping some of them probably. All right, so about Fragmentic and a few takeaways that's incorporated there. So Fragmentic partially is like infrastructure as a service. We provide components that if they crash, effectively your service is offline. So we should be super reliable. And as a startup, as something that we just started, and being reliable, these are like very hard to connect things. So we will definitely crash. I mean, I can promise that. We will definitely have issues. We are a very young company. We are 3 people working on it. So what can we do to be trustworthy is be open and just very truthful about what we do, why we do, and we can start communicating that with everyone. So it starts with yourself. It starts with not lying to yourself, not saying that, well, I'm building this unicorn company that's going to be huge, everything's going to be fine and shiny and beautiful. And as Boris said, well, like nobody's in startups to make money, but to have fun. So, I mean, absolutely true. If you want to build trust with like people around you, you start from yourself first, and then why do you do something, and then not lying to your team, being open about your mistakes, being open about your issues, problems. So you have to build a culture of trust, a culture where when something goes wrong, you don't say, why the fuck did you screw things up, but say, okay, what went wrong, what can we do to make it right, let's see what goes on there. And that sort of sounds stupidly simple, but when you implement that in the real life, it's actually not that easy. And the other thing is not lying to your board, not lying to your investors, and then not lying to your customers. It's like, there's all the value chain. If you just want to be open to your customers, but you have all messed up in the middle, you cannot do that. So we designed a thing we called Open Culture, where we pledge to share publicly every single document, every single communication, and every single metric we have that doesn't hurt our business if we share it, and it doesn't violate any privacy for our customers. So we use a lot of open documents, and we publish things online what we do. So what has it done to me so far? And like, I mean, like, we're still a super early stage, and most of the things I say verbally is basically maximum I currently have. And when I say, so what is it going to mean? It means public salaries, public equity, public investment documents. We write our term sheet for our pre-seed round. We write our investment contract ourselves, and we will release it under Creative Commons online for everyone to reuse if it makes sense for anyone else. And we will have public board calls. We'll publish summaries of our board calls and weekly performance, like PPPs, every quarter online in our blog. So anyone can just take it, read it. Well, some parts will be slightly anonymized. Let's say we wouldn't say, okay, we try to hire this person, name, whatever, or we tried to raise money from these investors, they were assholes, they didn't give us the money. We'll just say we talked with American VC from New York and they didn't invest in us, but we wouldn't probably name them. So it scares people. Like, half of investors I talk to, they don't want to talk to me anymore. They're like, okay, that sounds interesting, and they stop replying to every communication. It scares, I've tried to find a technical co-founder. Like, half of the people who hear, oh, my salary going to be known to everyone. Okay, that's interesting. No more answers. I was like, why do you do that in the first place? And the other thing is, the other half gets super excited about it. They just keep calling me. It's like, hey, can we meet? I heard you're doing this thing which is like open. Can we meet? Can we want to talk? So it's actually like a filter. So instead of you have to figure out who are like the best or like the worst investors around you, the worst already went away. I mean, half of them at least. I mean, it's really interesting if you say that. And I mean, only spend time with investors who are actually excited about what you do, not the ones who are there only for, I don't know, it's called the vegetable business. You buy and sell companies, and then you try to do that as quickly as possible. So open data, as I said, so we're trying to publish everything that doesn't hurt. We don't really have much data at the moment. When we'll have revenue, we'll publish that on semi-real-time basis. Currently, if you go to Infogr.am/Fragmentic, you can see our front page real-time analytics from Google Analytics. All of that is like summarized, made a nice infographic, and you can just yeah, you can tweet it if you like. Open meetings, short, super easy if you have 3 people. Usually you need at least 2 to have a meeting. But when you grow your team, having a culture where everyone can participate in every meeting is actually essential. Everyone can be part of a board call if they like so. That is something that even in medium or like actually even small scale companies like 20, 40 people, that's already hard to do because, oh, we don't want to talk about these things. Of course, there are some parts which always be behind closed doors, but so many parts which is basically under communication with your team, with your customers, and then end of the day building a wrong product has been quite a good killer for startups. So open board calls, I mentioned that. So yeah, maybe then who knows Buffer, and they do open salaries, right? Has anyone tried to, anyone's doing something like them, anyone's doing open salaries? No, okay. Anyone tried to like look at their formula? So we tried, and when we put in the European numbers, let's say post-Soviet numbers, so we're based in Latvia, they break. The formula breaks at that moment. Because if you on average should be making 100K a year as an entry salary, then you can narrow it down to, like, I mean, you pay less for apartments in Europe, you pay less for, like, all your out-of-pocket expenses, so you pay less salary. And then we tried to calculate, and we came up with a magic number that Latvia is 2.5 times cheaper than Silicon Valley. But when we try to look at those numbers in context, let's say you pay developer, whatever, let's say 1,000 euros, and then you pay designer 800 euros in Latvia. In the case of Silicon Valley, you pay developers, let's say, 2,000 euros, and you pay designers, let's say, 1.2 thousand euros. So basically, the proportion is wrong. And when the proportion is wrong, that formula breaks. And so we cannot use buffer formula. So we're currently working, who knows Teleport in Estonia? Okay, so there's a really cool company, Teleport. They try to help you teleport from one city to another. So they calculate living costs. They calculate if you currently make 1,000 euros in Warsaw and you would move to Riga, how much money should you make in Riga to have the same purchasing power of 1,000 euros here? They do that for, like, well over 100 cities, I guess, now. And we use Teleport. So I don't actually know if we'll end up using any parts of buffer formulas. We would like to build upon something existing, not inventing the wheel again, but it looks like we will come up with our own formula where you would be able to come to something like a website like salaries.fragmentic.com or something, and then you say, okay, I'm a senior software engineer, I'll live in Riga, and my stock preference or salary preference is like you can choose which you like more stock or more salary, and we'll tell you exactly before you come to job interview. We'll tell you exactly how much money you will make, and there's several, like, triggers you can pull back and forth to adjust that along the formula works. So hiring the right people was the other thing. So the greatest compliment I heard about Infogr.am is that like recently before I left, I got a couple of job interviews where people said, you got this guy working in engineering, you have this girl working in sales, and you have this girl working in whatever marketing. And these are like some of the most awesome people I know. I want to be part of a team where those people work. And I was like, wow. I mean, good that you've done the background check, but then you actually want to work in a company, not because of the product, but because you want to be part of a really awesome team, is something I take as a huge compliment, I guess. But then how you build it forward, how you build it into a new sort of level. If you want to start a new company, how do you make sure? Because we had people like we hired some of the most amazing people who were absolutely unfit for the work we hired them, and we had to fire them or they left. And it left this sort of feeling that you get amazing team of amazing people, and you do an interview, and it's like, wow, this person is like possibly best I've ever like encountered in marketing, and like I want him to be part of my team. And then this person joins the team, and the person is like absolutely unwilling to work and absolutely hates everything we do because like there's a complete no culture fit there. So like we don't understand why we happen to be together in the same organization. So how do we build that? So what is corporate culture? So a friend and a mentor of mine, David Beiser, said like fancy rooms with sliders is for show and it's fun, but it's the people at the end of the day you work with. So David has hired about 5,000 people for Google back in the days when he was working there as an HR, and now he runs Talent Fontaine, HR consultancy firm in Paris. So how do you build that into your culture that you can actually know? So you can narrow it down to maybe, let's say you need a software engineer and there's maybe 25 of them in Warsaw you can actually hire, but they will never leave. They'll be the most perfect people for you. So you build that into the culture of the company. So building knowledge is something I want to share with you. So let's say if you work in a rather rational organization of any kind, over the time, so the X would be time and Y would be knowledge. Over the time, the organization somewhat grows the knowledge, or it sort of becomes smarter. That's expected from businesses. And when you join an organization, you'd likely join something that's smarter so you could learn from them. Now, when you join, you say, well, all those smart people around me. And after a while, you become on their level. And after a while, you become smarter than everyone else. And there's like, oh, I know better than the organization. Why? Because the personal learning curve is always steeper than the learning curve of any organization. I mean, think of it like if you drive if you have this huge container ship that floats across the ocean. I mean, it's super powerful, and it could do a lot of things. But if you sit on a motorcycle, you just pass by it. So it always like a fast like personal learning curve always will be faster than a corporate learning curve. Now, when you apply that to startups, the problem is that startups actually effectively learns faster and grows faster than anyone can do, and then you have to catch up with them. So how does startups do that? By injecting the knowledge, by hiring smarter and smarter and smarter people. Now, sounds good, so easy, but when you think of what does it mean in practical life, it means that you do something, and then we hire a colleague of yours who's sitting next to you, who's like 10 times smarter, like more experienced than you are. So in the Infogr.am, we developed this culture that every person we hire is smarter than all of us combined. At the same time, every next person we hire has sort of more narrow focus. And so let's say if you hire, like if every next person you hire is smarter than you are, what does it make about the founders who were the first? So company starts with you, and company starts with defining who it is. So one of the questions we ask ourselves is who works at sales. So okay, who works at the startup here? All right, keep your hands up. And keep your hands up, those who work at the startups. And who does not work in sales? Keep your hands up. Those who work at sales, you can put your hands down. Those who does not work in sales but work at startups. So we build this culture that if you don't work at sales, you're fired. Very straightforward. So if you happen to be in a company that does not have like too much money just to waste on let's do something fun, if you're not part of nonprofit, everyone in a startup works in sales. If you don't serve our customers, what the fuck are you doing? Like seriously, like you build, like you're a software engineer and you don't care about the customers. Like why? It's like, what are you doing there? Like what sort of code are you writing, or what sort of design or marketing you're doing if you don't work for your customer? So we built an advisory board of 4 people before we raise substantial capital, and we have proper investors on our board who kicks our ass every other day. We wanted to have a bit of energy behind us so that people who are smart, experienced, and disagree with me. So we built an advisory board of 4 people. Each of them got 0.5% of the company equity. And their job is to not let us fall asleep. So David Beiser is one of them, and we do weekly, semi-weekly workshops with him on the company culture, trying to define who the fuck we are, why we are doing what we do. And we defined 7 values that we hopefully will be able to narrow down to maybe 3 or 4. But I just want to share this sort of work in progress thing. So the purpose of defining the culture of a company is that the culture defines why we do stuff, how we do that, and what kind of people should we be working for. And this is, these are the definitions everyone we hire will have to fit in. So the number one value we all came across is that we want to learn. We want to always grow our knowledge. And learning is only available if you're humble, and only available if you admit that you don't know something. Then the second thing is being transparent, which is probably something we will eventually merge with knowledge, learning. So you give feedback to your colleagues. You don't try to be nice to them. You don't have to be nice to your colleagues. If you want to build a successful company and someone's not performing, you can either ignore them and wait for being fired, or you can help everyone to succeed by providing feedback. The same comes with your board. If you have problems, the CEO and the team, and like every one of us, is the first to communicate these problems, not wait before they really go on public on TechCrunch. We're data-driven. If what we do is not justified by data we can prove, then we consider it being lies unless proven otherwise. We're a design-driven company. And something that we learn in Infogr.am, if you want to build a global company, you have to have a multinational team. You have to have knowledge that's not within your social circles only. So Infogr.am 40 people team has 13 or 14 different nationalities. The other side is, at least me and the team, is unable to live in one location. I've been 3 days in my hometown over last month, and I live in Airbnb in Riga, so that already tells a bit about my lifestyle. The company is run effectively on Telegram, and we tried Slack, we didn't like it, so we used Telegram for that. Works. So it's sort of like we built location agnostic company. When we looked to hire the technical co-founder, we interviewed people from 12 different countries and 4 different continents. Ownership and flat structure was part of things we mentioned that we would like to have, which is partially these open meetings and everyone's able to provide feedback across the company regardless of ranks. We do, however, have titles in the company which we did not have in Infogr.am. So Infogr.am was run for 4 years without anyone having any titles at all. We do have titles, but they are sort of like, we don't have 3 C-level executives just because we have 3 founders and only 3 people in team, but still. Environment as of nature and as of city and social values. That's pretty much it. I was also provided feedback. I should probably stop my conversations with you. Any comments or something, you can also send me an email, of course, or ask me now. I can probably give you about the same 2 minutes for questions as the startups will get afterwards. So any questions, please let me know. Thank you.